Good day, everyone. I'm Ravi from Ravi Talks YouTube channel. Wish you all a happy New Year 2021. As all of you are already aware, PA planning in SAFE is critical and vital to implement SAFE to achieve business agility. However, given the situation wherein teams are distributed and dispersed, an effective way of conducting PA planning is a challenge to many organizations. To overcome this, I have come up with a remote PA planning facilitator checklist that would enable us to consider key aspects to prepare for the PA planning event. Please do note that the checklist, whatever you are seeing, is a living document, and I appreciate your valuable inputs after hearing this session. Should you need any inputs on conducting effective PA planning, do not hesitate to reach me out. Let me share my screen. Yeah, this is the PA planning facilitator checklist that I've been talking about for a while. Okay, so these are all some critical, important aspects that one should consider to be successful before we get into a PA planning. So let's talk about how can we make effective PA planning. Ensure the top 10 features for the upcoming PA are ready and groomed. This is a really very critical important aspect to be considered. I could see many other places wherein many of the arts suffered a lot because of not grooming the stories or features in an effective manner. I could see many of the teams within an art spending a lot of time are spending a lot of time to understand the features and talking with the business, talking with the product owner in terms of understanding, what kind of features that we have planned for the PA. So to mitigate this risk, one of the important tip or one of the aspect that I would like to highlight to each one of you is that before you get into the PA planning meeting, ensure that team is comfortable with all the features that we are planning or targeting for the upcoming PA. This step is of really vital in the sense that until unless team understand what exactly they're planning to implement in the upcoming PA, what exactly they're planning to estimate in the PA planning, the PA planning is going to be very challenging. Okay, so most of the times I often keep on getting questions from various stakeholders. Ravi, does it mean that we have to complete at any cost, or we need to target 10 features? Yes, the safe recommendation is 10 features to be planned for the PA planning so as to execute them during the upcoming PA. However, my recommendation is that based on the capacity that is available across the art, it's better we choose the features that we are targeting for the upcoming PA. And most important thing I would also like to say is basically, in case we have done any case in any of the problem solving workshop, to ensure to see what kind of the problems that we are trying to solve at the art level. Probably this statement might not be correct in case you're launching or in case you're planning to attend the PA planning for the first time. However, in case you have experienced many of the PA plannings, I would also rather suggest you guys to have a to have a look at it problem solving workshop output and accordingly consider them even as part of your backlog estimation as well. And most important thing, since the teams are distributed and dispersed, it's so important that the success of the PA planning is heavily going to be dependent on the kind of virtual tools that we are going to use. Though I don't have any other recommendations on various kind of tools that can be used. Why? Because each and every tool has their pros and cons. My recommendation in the market, there are plenty of tools that are available wherein they support the scaled agile implementation, the PA planning activities, but it needs a the tooling decision has to be done well before start of the PA planning. And all the members in the team, all the members in the art needs to be trained on how to use those tools, and we need to ensure that the arts are familiarized with the kind of tools that we are going to use. If not so, again, it is going to be a really bit challenging. Okay, and we certainly don't want to spend a good amount of time during PA planning uh, to understand how the tool works, what kind of features it has given the time constraints. Why? Because all the activities within the PA planning time box, and it's so important that we work collaboratively with all the stakeholders, especially with the product owners and the business, to understand their priorities and so as to plan the commitments from the art. Okay, and most important thing, I would like to make it very clear to each one of you, since the teams are distributed. For example, let's say, for example, if you are in India, if your art is located based out of India, probably across all the locations within India you can have one timing. But today the teams are distributed, as I mentioned earlier. We have the teams, even the teams within the art, they are distributed geographically across the globe. So it's so important that all the stakeholders would agree on the comfortable time zone. It should not happen in such a way that uh, only the release train engineer takes a decision of takes a decision on time zone that needs to be considered for conducting PA planning. Then it might cause unhappiness among various stakeholders. So my suggestion here would be, have a collaborative discussion and see the time zones that better suits for everyone. Probably being an RTE, you can come up with a draft plan of time zone that you are considering to conduct this PA planning. And then you can have a kind of collaborative conversation with the critical stakeholders, probably based on the voting, just agree on the time. This is a really very very important way, because we need to consider and respect all the time zones. Okay, and most important things I would like to highlight it here is that I could see, I have seen, rather I had seen in many of the PA plannings that I have attended so far. Always art members keep on giving one feedback as part of PA planning retrospective, stating that some of the team members got the invite for the PA planning. Some of the PA members didn't even get any invite, and they're not been briefed on the PA planning agenda. Okay, I know all these are all operational issues, but for us to be successful as a team, it's of so important that being an RT, I need to ensure that all the critical stakeholders have been informed, regarding upcoming PA planning event, so as to block their calendars. And if required, my suggestion, share the draft plan agenda with everyone as well. To let them know, how exactly you want to conduct the PA planning, being a RT. That's a really very very important. So that's why I keep on recommending, always ensure that team rosters are updated. There might be many questions, Ravi, who is responsible for updating rosters? Is it RT or is it Scrum Masters? Um, Whoever it is, the end of the day, the message is that we should not missing any of the team members. So RTE should work very collaboratively with the Scrum Masters, especially to ensure that the Scrum Masters capture all their team members. That's a really very very important. Okay, and and most important thing, most often what we miss is inviting all the critical stakeholders. When I say all the critical stakeholders, it doesn't mean that the PA planning is meant for only the art members. No, it's not like that. The reason being, let us consider as an example, you are aiming for a feature wherein it has dependency outside your boundary. For example, it has dependent on some third party vendor. In such a case, you will not be able to commit that feature until unless you understand the dependencies and their commitment. That's why when I started up this session, I made it very clear the grooming of features, they are really very very important, not only from the perspective of understanding what exactly we are planning to implement in the upcoming PA, but also the focus as part of our grooming for the upcoming PA should be focused on identifying the dependencies as well. Even you understand the features very clearly, and in case you don't have any visibility or understanding on kind of dependencies it has, on various components of the system, be it internal or external, then it is going to set up a failure, especially during PA execution. But because until unless you have the clear understanding on dependencies of a feature, be it internal and external, you might not be able to commit the features. In such a case, obviously what happens, you'll be once you are done with the PA planning, you will end up seeing many uncommitted objectives on the program board, uncommitted objectives, which is of really not a good sign. But because the uncommitted means as all of you are aware, uncommitted PA objective means that you are considering that in our effort, the capacity, but you are giving a kind of indication to the stakeholder that this is a kind of risky item to be worked on. Okay, so my recommendation: have the backlog grooming effectively and ensure that that you are inviting as part of your team roster. You are also keeping all the critical stakeholders. Whoever you plan to invite, don't miss them, because they are also very critical. Because when you are getting into the PA planning, you'll be having all the stakeholders, and you are giving a commitment upfront for every upfront, to everyone. So that in case you see any challenges, let's openly talk. Agile is all about, safe is all about promoting the transparency. Have an open discussion. Then take a collaborative call. Okay, that's what I can tell you. Okay, and most important thing, again, we spoke about this point. Okay, the collaboration tools, when I say earlier, it doesn't mean that various tools that we use to attend the PA planning. Okay, the collaborative tool, whatever we choose, that should also support us in terms of allowing the art members to have a separate breakout sessions, because when we are in face-to-face communication, most of the times, we could see teams getting assembled in separate physical rooms. But here the teams are distributed and team members are dispersed. It's so important that the tool that we use basically have a support, to have breakout rooms embedded. And most important thing, one should not miss is how will you manage your program board. There are different tools. Again, I could see it doesn't mean that I'm not passing the message that um, you know until unless you use some tools, especially for PA planning, to prepare program board and everything, we cannot conduct PA planning. That's not my message. What I mean to say here is that if you have the effective PA planning tool as well, probably you can collaboratively spend much time and understand the features and talking to the other teams in terms of agreeing on dependencies, and accordingly you can sequence out your user stories when you go for preparing your the team level boards. All these things, your job becomes very easy. So if you feel that, if organization feels that tool purchasing a tool is a cost, it's going to have no cost impact, obviously. And then I could see some of the organizations using even virtual team boards, which is being maintained in the form of Excel. I know it might look a bit clumsy, but end of the day, the main purpose is to end up the PA planning. One should be able to understand what are the different PA objectives that we are committing, what kind of dependencies we have, among features. across all the teams, within art, outside of the art. It gives an indication to everyone, what, how much comfortable we are in terms of um, 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 making our PA execution successful as per our commitment. That's a really very very important. Okay, but most important thing, till now, we spoke about the collaboration tools that are required. We spoke about the importance of feature backlog. We spoke about the team rosters. All these things we spoke about it. But most important thing, I could say, uh, you know. Uh, we need to have the business context, the roadmap, and vision, and the team capacity, the team wise, how much the available capacity. But because while calculating the capacity, if it is a first PA planning, obviously you have to go for a relative estimation technique, as per the safe suggestion. Or else if it is your second PA, third PA, wherein you feel that you have the teams consistently, delivering. When I say consistently, it should not be like that. In first PA you have four teams, and in the second PA, you removed one or two teams, and then you decided to go ahead with the two teams. And this is of all these the changes. These are all best examples for anti patterns. Okay, so we need to have a business contest slide prepared, in a crispy manner, probably one or two slides, and it all depends, as long as the we are able to understand the business contest, why are we here, and how we are making progress so far on the business, and how the solution is supporting them, and roadmap and vision. This is of really very important. Why? Because being part of the art, and being a member in the Agile team or Agile train, and I should be able to understand, what is the vision, and the roadmap, that I have. These are all really very very important. Okay, so and once we are done with the PA planning, most important things, as we spoke, at least at a very high level, I'm not saying that you need to break all the features into the user stories. Ideally, that should be the way that we should go ahead with that. Because sometimes we might end up in a situation wherein, like, one feature might get divided into multiple user stories. I keep on hearing, Ravi, when I started off, in my PA planning, when I initially broken the feature, uh, I had only 4 to 5 user stories. As an example, I'm telling you that, okay. But when I actually started working, I thought, we need to have one or two more user stories. That's fine, but why are you landing into such kind of anti patterns? The reason being, if you keep starting the new user stories adding during pre-execution, that is also going to be another anti-pattern. Why? Because again, you need to estimate it. Then it might be having dependencies on other teams as well. So these are all that's why the feature backlog grooming is of really very 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 important. Okay, again, there is of no thumb rule that, Ravi, when exactly do we need to start feature backlog grooming. It all keeps on varying from situation to situation. Most of the times it keeps on varying from the situation to situation. There is no thumb rule that whatever scenario I followed for one organization or one train might not work for the same, I mean, another train within the same organization. Okay, but again, based on the based on the situation on the ground, being an RTE, you should be able to take a call. But most of the times I could see many of the organizations, especially in this uh, distributed and dispersed environment, I could see organizations starting backlog grooming for the upcoming PIs, in the hardly in the fourth or fifth iteration of existing PA. But because the grooming is of such an important activity, if you ask me. Why? Because if you get into the PA planning, you will also be given 2 to 3 hours for breakout, wherein you have to understand the feature, you need to get them converted into user stories, and you need to identify the dependencies. Okay, it doesn't mean that does it a flaw in the framework. No, it's not the flaw. we are just only talking about the best practices. Okay, again, it's my based on my personal experiences, whatever I had so far. Okay, for you, you might feel that, Ravi, you have mentioned all these points, but I have two more points to to be added over here. Yes, please go ahead. It's all about this is a living the checklist document, and definitely I'm more than happy to take all your inputs, and then we can keep on expanding this document as well. But most importantly, at the end of the PA, what we look at it is what are the committed and uncommitted PA objectives, and risks are very very important. Um, you know and the program board, this is of really very very important one. Being a remote and disperse, I should be able to see what kind of features are being getting delivered, what are the critical milestones, what kind of dependencies that each feature has, if any, on another feature, or be it within the art or within the teams in the same art, or maybe outside of the art, whatever it is. So but that is of really very very important. We should not just conduct PA planning just for the sake of conducting it. For me, my personal view, the PA planning, I can say that it's a PA planning is hard to success of safe, and moreover, on the top of it, I can say based on my experience that program board is one of the critical one that one should ensure that it's been followed. Okay, so again, once it is done, inspect and adapt. Why? Because the safe is all about that. You fail fast, learn fast. That's the beauty. That's what we have been adopting. We need to have continuous learning culture, isn't it? So that's a really very very important. Okay, we might have done something, some activities very well, and we might not have done something very well. No problem, but it's a time for us to introspect what went well, what did not go well, what could have been improved. All these things needs to be talk about the PA planning retrospective. So I'm not going to talk in detail about it, because the today's the session, it's all about how to how to conduct successful PA planning. Okay. Okay. So, the most important thing is that the actions to take from the PA planning. We need to ensure that the dependencies, the objectives have been communicated. To all the clients through RTE. If your solution has multiple release times, why? Because it doesn't mean that you're just committing your you're committing your objectives. The reason being, if a solution has multiple release times, it's so important that at the solution level, we track how each and every art is performing. But because until unless all these arts collaborate and work, we'll not be able to deliver the business solution that the business is expecting. Okay, so and program board should be visible. I could see couple of I got couple of inputs from some of the members now that, Ravi, we attended PA planning, but we are not able to see the program board. Okay, my recommendation here is that let's try to have a the PA board, which is accessible to all the members. Okay, and my recommendation is also, to each one of you is that keep updating the PA program board. Even continuously. Don't think that, hey, program board is just for the sake of completing the PA planning. No, it's not like that. It should be kind of living both throughout your PA execution as well. Okay, and based on the commitments whatever we made, the product management team updates the roadmap, and and most importantly, RTE to take items from planning retrospective and work on items that can be improved during SPA planning. And and once you have the features broken down into user stories, and it's so important that you update the work management tool. That, because that's a place wherein today we have many tools that are available, to track the to monitor how the art is performing, especially if the teams are 5 to 6, you might feel a bit challenged to understand, but if you have some tool wherein by getting into the tool, if you look at how the train is performing, starting from epic, how much percentage is completed by end of the sprint, iteration one, how much percentage is completed by the end of pi. There are different tools available. Myself, I have experienced with many tools. Most of the tools are very very good, and they are supporting safe framework in a good manner. So again, I'm telling you all that tooling decisions, just in case you're launching the PA for the first time, as part of the art launch you are doing, my recommendation, you finalize on the collaboration tools, you finalize on the work management tools, and ensure that all the stakeholders are well versed with the collaboration as well as work management tools. That's a really very very important. Okay, these most of the tips, most of this the tips we spoke about it during my the first conversation. It's so important that we as a team, that's why agile or safe, they play a lot of emphasis on the teams. If the teams are successful, we are successful. Why? Because the teams of agile teams, which are part of art, they continuously deliver value, to deliver some value to the customer. Okay, so to achieve that, we need to have a proper planning in place, and the planning, the outcomes of the planning should be visible across all, to all the stakeholders. That's also really very very important. So yes, if you are launching art for the first time, and it is going to be the first PA planning, it's going to be a little bit chaotic. It doesn't mean that the PA planning is successful, or I mean, it doesn't mean that this PA planning is a failure. Okay, if it is failed, yes, I mean, learn, fail fast, learn fast. Inspect and adapt. Have the continuous learning culture. That's fine, no problem. We should not worry about the sunk cost. How much effort that we put in. Yes, you failed because of some reasons. As per the planning retrospect, to get those inputs and try to cover them in the upcoming PA planning. Then it makes our journey more fruitful. And sharing of the agenda, and this is a really very very important. Don't restrict yourself, just to share the agenda with the business and some of the leadership team. Even being a part of the team, I should also be able to understand how the things are going to happen in the PA plan. Okay, that's a really very very important. Okay, my suggestion, at least in case if you are RT or coach, whoever it is, just I'm not going to talk about the roles and responsibilities between RT and role, but my recommendation is that just have a walkthrough of the agenda. That's a really most important one, and most importantly, ensure that the product management team is ready with the top 10 features or whatever it is. So and we have the proper feature backlog grooming sessions that are happening at least before start of the PA planning, just to ensure that in PA planning we concentrate much more on understanding the features and dependencies, and work with other teams in terms of prioritizing the features, not prioritizing in terms of sequencing the features or user stories. In PA planning you can spend good amount of time in making the plan in an effective manner. Okay, and all these things, one of the most important thing I would like to tell, based on my experience, that once you have the agenda, I know that it might vary for 5 to 10 minutes, but try to complete the agenda. Try to stick to the agenda, trying to adhere the timelines given, because the PA planning activities are also time boxed, and we also have to respect different time zones. Okay, and most important thing I would like to tell you that keep the capacity upfront ready before you get into the PA plan. Okay, you can ask me one question, Ravi. What if I start doing calculating a capacity in the PA planning? Yes, you can go ahead and do it, but again, as I mentioned a couple of times in this the session, we should not spend much time on identifying the operational activities, working on understanding the team commitments and everything. So my suggestion, it's better before you get into the PA planning, at least you have the capacity available, so that you will be having broader view of, how many features or user stories that you can commit from the team perspective. Okay. So, and most important thing, ensure that, encourage, the team members to participate, because this is a team effort. The PA planning, the team members give the estimation, not the not the SMEs, or the architects. If everyone participates, that's the beauty of it. Okay. And that, and ensure that, the team participates in the PA conference vote as well. That's also really very very important, because that's wherein, wherein we can sense, since we are not physically seeing each other, but it's of, this is of really very one important activities. Again, you can ask me, Ravi, you're talking about the PA conference board, you're talking about the, conducting PA planning, all these things. We have various tools available. Okay, so how someone to, experiment all these tools and ensure that, the tools whatever you have chosen, it is in compliant with our organization, policies, and legally you're not going to get into any other complications. Okay, and since it is a distributed, and the dispersed, and in case you have the people from different time zones, I think it's of most important thing is that, probably the recommendation, try to span PA planning from 2 days to 3 to 4 days, depending on everyone's convenience. Okay. I'm not saying that this is mandatory to be followed, but myself, when I adopted this approach, I could see some of the amazing results come. Okay. So the inputs whatever I have shared so far, these are all the best practices, I adapted, when I worked, when I supported, various PA plannings, being a RT coach, wherein, I was able to see some tremendous results coming out of the PA planning. Hope you enjoyed this session. In case you have any suggestions or ideas, or in case you would also like to provide your inputs on this checklist, please feel free to drop me a note. I'm more than happy to go through each and every comment whatever you had given, and we can make this list more exhaustive. So my intention of having this session is to to share the best practice, at least whatever I followed. Some of you might be, or most of you might be already following all these practices. Okay, but again, the continuous learning culture. I want to promote this being part of a safe. So I thought whatever I have best practices in my mind, I thought of sharing with this group. Okay, in case you like the session, please click on like button. In case you have any comments to be placed, please put in the comment section. Or in case you feel that you want to share this video with outsiders, please encourage them to go through it. I'll start conducting more sessions like this, based on my experiences. I'll also provide some tips based on the personal experiences that I have, in handling or in participating in safe the transformation projects. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it.